the best trait you can have as a leader is leading with integrity. Doing things in such a way that makes people want to follow you, not because of a rank, not because of a position, not because of anything like that, like a title or anything, but because of who you are and how you carry yourself. Integrity means the world in leadership.
Welcome to the Market with ATMA Podcast, where we give you the tips, tools, and strategies you need to be successful. My name is Bryan, and I'll be your host today. And today we have a very special guest joining us, and his name is Mayor Jim Ross. Mayor Jim Ross has dedicated his life to serving his community and his country. Elected as Mayor of Arlington in 2021, he brings decades of leadership experience across military service, law enforcement, law practice, business, and public service. He served as a United States Marine, spent over a decade with the Arlington Police Department, including SWAT and the DEA task force work, and later became a successful attorney representing thousands of clients. In addition to his legal career, he is also an entrepreneur, owning businesses like Mercury Chop House and Hearsay Arlington. Today, as mayor, he plays a key role in shaping the future of Arlington, serving on multiple regional and national boards, and leading initiatives that impact economic growth, infrastructure, and community development. Mayor Ross, welcome to the show. But before we get into the show, we'd like to say thank you to our sponsors. Today's episode is sponsored by NuvoDesk Co-working, the home of Arlington's most accessible production-ready podcast studio. Whether you're launching your first show or leveling up your content game, NuvoDesk gives you a professional studio environment where you can walk in, hit record, and create. But NuvoDesk is more than just a podcast room. It's a fully equipped business hub with private offices, conference rooms, and workshop and event spaces designed to help you host, collaborate, and grow. If you're ready to elevate your brand, your business, or your voice, book your next recording or your next tour at nuvodesk.com. Create here, work here, build here. Today's episode is brought to you by Nuvio, the all-in-one business platform designed to help you build, manage, and scale with confidence. With Nuvio, you can build your own website in minutes, manage all of your leads and customers through a powerful CRM, and if you're in the restaurant industry, you can run your entire operations using Nuvio's modern point-of-sale system. Whether you're a startup, a service provider, or a full-scale restaurant, Nuvio gives you everything you need in one place. Simple, connected, and built to grow with you. Discover why entrepreneurs are switching to Nuvio. Visit Nuvio.com and run your entire business on one platform. Well, welcome back to the Market with ATMA Podcast. And like I said, we have Mayor Jim Ross with us today. And this podcast is about helping businesses, organizations, and people build, launch, grow, and scale. That may look different, Jim. Thank you for being on here, but that may look different for all kinds of businesses. And if you're not familiar, build, launch, grow, what does that mean to us as a marketing agency? So build, we like to build a foundation. In our eyes, the assets, the websites, the branding, the logo, anything that we're going to use to launch into the market, which is like advertising. Grow, we help businesses with nurturing those relationships, whether that's through content or resources, and finally scale through automation. But that may not look the same when you're a leader in the community or a business leader in the community. And so we are honored to have you, who has been leading us here in Arlington, Texas. And so I'm just grateful that you are here to teach us a little bit about what build, launch, grow, scale means to you. So thank you, Jim. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you for having me, Bryan. I'm happy to be here and happy to talk about Arlington any chance I get. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's do it. So we talk about foundation, what building looks like, right? And I mean, you have a very unique story. I mean, you've done a lot, right?
I'm the weird mayor.
You're the weird mayor. But let's start from the very beginning. You were a U.S. Marine, and first off, I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for everybody is thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Right. And so, but you were a Marine, and you went into law enforcement and eventually law and business. And so what foundational lessons from those early years still guide you today?
Wow. As a young Marine, one of the biggest things you learn in leadership is the best trait you can have as a leader is leading with integrity. Doing things in such a way that makes people want to follow you, not because of a rank, not because of a position, not because of anything like that, like a title or anything, but because of who you are and how you carry yourself. Integrity means the world in leadership. And the second thing, I guess, is relationships. I don't care what kind of career you have, whether you're in the military, whether you're a cop, a lawyer, a plumber, whatever it is, you're never going to be the best you can be if you don't know how to develop and nurture relationships.
That's awesome. You know, it's funny you say that because I just had a conversation with my mentor, and one of the things that he says is that you can say and you can do action, but none of those things matter without principle. Right? You know, what is your intention? You know, what's our intention? And I think that speaks volume when you're leading, right? During your time at the Arlington Police Department, though, especially, I mean, you were in the SWAT, you were part of the DEA task force work. I mean, you were operating under high pressure environments. And how does that help you shape your leadership style today?
Well, it's strange because, I did a lot of high-pressure stuff. I did all the SWAT team stuff. I spent 7 years undercover buying drugs for a living. So when I encounter people that may be upset about their potholes not being filled, it doesn't seem as stressful to me as it was when I was being shot at or, having to fight a big drunk cowboy or something like that. Those things all come with a new perspective, I guess. I like to say, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. You take bites at what you can get, and you deal with what you can as you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good advice. And a lot of people, especially in today's age, and especially younger generation, we grew up with technology, and that's all we know. We have this fight or flight. I think we all have it, right? The fight or flight. But I think a lot of us are using it the wrong way, and it happens to the best of us, where you get an email from a customer or an email from somebody, and you're like, I need to respond right now. And you're talking about getting shot at and fighting, this email is minimal to that,
Yeah.
So looking back, what drove your decision to pivot from law enforcement school to ultimately, becoming an attorney?
When I was a police officer and with the DEA, I did a lot of testifying in court. I was a use of force expert. I taught self-defense to police officers all over the country. I testified in my drug cases quite a bit. And I remember going into court, watching these lawyers try cases and thinking, I could do better than that. So I had done all the fun things I wanted to do as a police officer. So I just decided in my mid-30s, you know what, let's go to law school. So I quit the police department, took out an early retirement, paid my way through law school, and I was blessed to get through it quickly and pass the bar and hit the ground running.
Yeah, talking about the bar, you completed it in just 28 months. You went through school in just 28 months, and then you completed the bar on your first attempt. That's not a small thing, I mean, a lot of people take the bar and they have to take it multiple times, right?
Yeah, but I was older than the average student, and I was scared to death that I'd fail it and I'd have to take it again. So I studied extra hard, I guess. So I don't know that I was super smart or anything. I was just determined.
Hey, you know what? That is, there are a lot of smart people in the world, right? And but determination, perseverance, I believe, is one of the best traits you could have.
Yeah.
As any even if you're not a leader, right? If you pursue, we're all going to go through trials and obstacles through life. But if you don't have that perseverance and determination, I mean, it's kind of hard, right, to get through anything that you're trying to do in life. Yeah. You went to represent thousands of clients under your launching of your new practice. What pushed you to step out and build your own practice?
Every time you work for somebody else, you're subject to being compensated, whether it's monetarily or whether it's otherwise, with what they choose to do for you. And I remember sitting back thinking, we're making a lot of money for these big law firms, and my part of it was minuscule in comparison. So I went out on my own. I struck out. It was just me. I took out the trash, did my own typing. I did it all, and we grew it from a one-person firm to about a 60-person firm.
Mm-hmm. You wore a lot of hats.
Yeah. Still do.
Yeah. I think that shaped you today. You said you've got a lot of things going on, right? But you had stated something too. It's like you're a hard worker, right? And you're in the midst of a campaign right now, and you're really, I mean, I see you on social media. You're working hard.
Yeah,
right?
I'm working hard, but it's not all real work.
Yeah.
It's real fun.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing the stuff that you love to do, whether it's as a mayor, whether it's as a lawyer or a restaurateur, whatever you're doing, when you love what you're doing, it makes it a whole lot more easy to do.
Yeah.
And I love what I'm doing. So, so I'm going to work hard because this is my passion.
That's awesome. And speaking of that, you've not just launched your own practice, but you've launched 2 restaurants, right? Mercury Chop House and Hearsay.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about, what you've learned about entrepreneurship and going from a legal practice to now restaurants. Like, that's kind of funny that different verticals but what has that taught you?
Yeah. I stumbled into my first restaurant and I moved my law firm beneath an old restaurant in Arlington called Casherelle, and they closed down right after I moved my law firm into that building, and I thought, wow, this is an opportunity. I always joked with a buddy of mine that we're going to start a restaurant one day, and I just said, let's do it. Mm-hmm. Well, I made the mistake, and that restaurant was successful from day one. That was the Mercury Chop House. So I thought to myself, well, this restaurant stuff is pretty easy. I can do this again. So I opened my second restaurant after COVID and everything, and that wasn't quite as easy.
Yeah.
We're doing okay now, but it took us a little while to get our legs underneath us, and then I started to realize maybe that restaurant world isn't quite as easy as I was led to believe the first time around.
Yeah.
But we're doing just fine now.
Yeah, we work with a lot of restaurant owners, and it is never as simple or easy as people make it out to be.
No.
Right? There's a lot that goes into running a restaurant and managing a restaurant, doing marketing for restaurants. I mean, there's an entire aspect to restaurant ownership and management that I believe that people misperceive when opening up a restaurant. For sure. So as you've opened up practices, you started to grow as a leader, and so you started to get more involved in the community. You've been deeply involved in Arlington for over 40 years. From your perspective, what has been the biggest transformation in the city?
Wow. When I first came to Arlington in the very early 80s, we were a little sleepy bedroom community lying between Dallas and Fort Worth. Mm-hmm. We are no longer a sleepy bedroom community. We are a thriving top 50 size city in the country with a character all our own. Mm-hmm. We are the largest entertainment venue in the Southwest United States. We bring nearly 17 million visitors a year to Arlington. We are at the center of the world stage now, mm-hmm. literally. Mm-hmm. And it is exciting to see those changes. Not only has the growth and what's transformed in the entertainment district been fun to watch, but seeing what's happened to our neighborhoods and our communities as they become more and more diversified. Mm-hmm. Arlington last year passed Houston as the most diverse city in the state of Texas.
Wow.
And now we're the third most diverse city in the country. I like to say we're the most diverse because we're the most welcoming. Mm-hmm. Here in Arlington, we don't care what you look like, what color your skin is, who you love or who you worship. or how you worship. We care about how you treat your neighbor.
Yes.
Do you treat each other with dignity and respect? Do you show love to your neighbor? Those are the things that matter. And when you combine those aspects of Arlington, then you get all these businesses coming and knocking on your door and asking, how can we be a part of this community? And that's what changed now. We have businesses coming here wanting to be a huge part of our community.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that because Advent Marketing Agency is a faith-based marketing agency. So people always assume that each team member is Christian. And the reality is they're not, right? But here's where, and you said it, right? We could have different team members with different religions, but we all have one principle, which is, are we treating people with kindness and love, right? You can't get past that. You can't, you could be, I think a lot of us, we have to be careful, and this is me speaking to my own religion, be careful getting involved, getting consumed by religion instead of faith and love and joy, right? You have to be careful with that.
Well, I've had people try to tell me that Arlington is a Christian community. I'm a Christian. And I'd say, no, we're not. Arlington is a community that lets you practice whatever faith you wish to practice. Arlington is a community that welcomes the different faiths. Arlington is a community that says it's okay to be a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or Hindu. It doesn't matter as long as we treat each other with decency and respect. So, I'm proud to be a Christian. I'm happy about my faith, but I'm appreciative of other perspectives and other faiths as well, because those differing perspectives don't make us weaker. They make us stronger. They make us better.
Yeah, we had something this morning, and the key topic was our table, right? And I had stated something. I said, remind us that our table should be inclusive instead of exclusive, right? And so we be careful of trying to be exclusive. We want to be inclusive, right? And so, but as you began to, we're talking a lot about Arlington and the business owners that are listening. What makes Arlington a strong environment to build and grow their companies today?
We do one thing better than anybody else that I've seen anywhere in the country or the world for that matter, and I've been all over the place. We do relationships. We talked about faith. That means relationship with your God, with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your coworkers, with your employers and employees, with your community. We do relationships really, really well. I think that explains why Texas Rangers came here 54 years ago, and in spite of other cities trying to take them, they've stayed here.
Yeah.
Because nobody beats our relationships.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you're right. I mean, we have great companies here, right? Great organizations, large organizations, small organizations, and we all find a way to work with each other, right? That's what we're going to talk about next is, as mayor, we're helping shape Arlington's future at a large scale. What are your key priorities for the next 3 to 5 years?
So we have a lot of projects in the pipeline. Our key priorities include opening the Northside Police Substation, the design and building of a joint police and fire training facility, big compound down on the northwest part of Lake Arlington. We want to complete our form-based code in downtown to make development for both businesses, multifamily and everything smoother and easier for the downtown development, the beautification of the International Corridor, the transformation of Rolling Hills Country Club into a phenomenal luxury home development, and the transformation of stuff like Lincoln Square into the Anthem. There's a lot of things going on in Arlington. None of those things I want my legacy to be, though.
Yeah.
I want my legacy to be that whenever I leave this office, that people look and say, Jim left this place better than it was when he found it. Mm-hmm. And that there is no doubt about how much I really love this community. I do what I do because I love this community. Mm-hmm. I am convinced that we have, if not the best, absolutely one of the best communities on the face of the earth. And I will do anything for this community. So that's what I want my legacy to be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You're involved in infrastructure, workforce development, and national level initiatives. How do you ensure Arlington stays competitive as it grows?
Well, we stay competitive because nobody does relationships like us. We just did a deal with a company called eSpace, huge low-orbit satellite manufacturing firm. We made a substantial investment into getting eSpace here by helping to build and pay for this nearly 500,000 square foot manufacturing facility down at the airport. The night before we were supposed to do the deal, the CEO calls me and says, Jim, the other city that we were looking at has called and they've put twice the money down that Arlington's put down to get us in their city. Mm-hmm. He says, I have to share this information with my board. What do I tell my board? I said, it's easy. When you originally came to Arlington and you shared your vision and you told Arlington what you needed, we were the only city that shared your vision, that saw what you saw, and that immediately went to work and delivered everything you needed in the time that you needed it. So when you want to crawl into business with somebody, do you want to crawl into in the business with somebody that gets it, or that lies behind the log and tries to ambush the deal at the last minute?
Sir.
And he called me back at 2:30 in the morning, and he says, we called an emergency meeting with the board, and we're staying with Arlington.
That's awesome.
And that's because of relationships. We got them when they first came here. Mm-hmm. We saw their vision, we understood, and we went to work, and we made it happen. The secret is, don't focus on the deal. Mm-hmm. You're in the marketing and advertising and branding and all of that business, and the secret for any business is, don't look at the deal itself. Don't try to bring the one event. Don't try to close the deal on that one thing. Mm-hmm. You've got to focus on the relationship, whether or not the deal comes or not, because the odds are you're going to get, if not that deal, some other deal because of the relationships you're building. Mm-hmm. So you've got to work on the relationships first. You can't treat everybody like you're a salesperson. You can't go in there and pitch them like you're selling a used car. You've got to work on the relationships. How many times do you shop or eat someplace because you got great service? Mm-hmm. May not be the cheapest place, may not be the best food or the best clothes, but you love the service you got and the relationship you developed. So you go back. We all do it all the time.
Yeah. And people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And if the first part is, you got to get them to like you. I mean, you got to connect some sort of chemistry.
Because of relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's some people think if they know me, they'll buy. Yeah. that they could know you, could also know you for the wrong reasons too, right? And if they don't like you or trust you, then how are they going to do business with you?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, when you think about legacy, and you kind of answered this, but what do you want your time as mayor to represent for you in the city?
Oh, I want it to represent the love I have for the city. I want my time here to be full of trying to make sure Arlington becomes the best Arlington it can be. I think we're well underway. And it's, to be candid, our community makes it easy.
Yeah.
Because they love every bit as much as I do. And they care every bit as much as I care. And they make it easy. So I just get to be like the number one cheerleader with it. So it's pretty fun.
That's awesome. Well, Jim, thank you again for being on this show, and thank you for sharing some insights of your journey, not just as mayor, but your entire journey from being a U.S. Marine to opening up your own law firm and becoming an entrepreneur and building some restaurants around here in Arlington, and then finally becoming mayor. Like that's a journey, right?
It's a journey.
That's a journey, and that's a legacy. And we thank you for sharing your story. And we hope that everybody that's listening has taken some notes, learned a little tips and tricks and tools that they need to help them build, launch, and grow. And we're honored to have Mayor Jim Ross share some insights of his journey and how he was able to build, launch, grow, and scale. So once again, thank you for listening to the Market It with ATMA podcast. My name is Bryan, and we will see you next time.